Patrick Moore squinted at me through his monocle. He looked grumpy. He always looked grumpy. I always thought he was going to tell me off. Every other grown-up did. So why not him as well? "Now pay attention, Gordon," he would say, in those quick, clipped tones of his. "Stop lollygagging and gazing out of the window. Now, you see this here?" He pointed to a picture on the screen behind him. "This is Mars. You should know Mars. Bright red. Impossible to miss. It should be visible in the night sky at around 10 this evening, giving you plenty of time to see it before bedtime." Nope. Bedtime was 9:30. I decided to turn the channel over. I turned it the other way when I saw that England were playing the West Indies. Even if Channel 3 were showing an afternoon of drying paint, I would much prefer that to cricket. The only thing worse than cricket was on the buses, which our elderly babysitter, Doris, found hilarious. She used to bring round these battered video cassettes whenever she babysat, thinking that Will and I wanted to watch naff 70s sitcoms about old perverts chasing after young girls. If it wasn't that, it was something else that was either racist or downright creepy. Will eventually figured out how to make the video recorder chew up tapes, and in the course of one evening, we managed to destroy pretty much every racist, pederast-filled 70s sitcom Doris had brought round. Goodbye on the buses. See you in hell till death do us part. Then Will couldn't fix the video recorder, and the next day, when it chewed up Granny's recording of Soldier Soldier, we were in trouble. She didn't buy our excuse that the recorder had become sentient and was doing us a service. We told her the machine had destroyed the tapes in retaliation for Robson and Jerome's singing career. Thankfully, this was as DVDs were coming in, so we got a DVD recorder instead, and Doris was defeated, until she discovered there was this thing called HMV. We didn't have Channel 4. Our television refused to tune into Channel 4 as a matter of principle. When Channel 5 came along, it decided it had had enough, and went off to the recycling centre in a failed attempt to seek its fortune. I wondered, from looking at the black, sparkling dress covering my head, if I shouldn't have stuck with Patrick Moore and his Sunday afternoon astronomy lessons. "I don't fancy learning astrology," I told Granny when she asked why I had changed the channel. Learning, especially science, has never done anything for me. Maybe if it did, I wouldn't have been staring into the night, wondering what each of the countless stars were called. "Are you still there?" Will asked in my ear. "Yeah, just looking at the stars, thinking of Patrick Moore. Save it for the bedroom and the KY jelly. You and I have a jump to do." He hadn't been saying that when the wingsuit arrived that morning. "What have you bought? What? How much? Jesus Christ, you maniac! £3,000! Do you even know how to use it?" I shrugged. It couldn't be that hard. And where was the fun in spending years going to an airfield every Sunday to learn how to use it? I wanted the thrill, and I wanted the thrill now. Doing it at night, covered with those push-button LED lights you can get from the pound shop, maybe was taking it a bit too far. But that's hindsight talking. The idea made me laugh at the time. "How do you think Miriam's going to take it when I tell her you're a bloody splat in the middle of the Ogwen Valley?" He'd been reading me the Wikipedia list of wingsuit fatalities all afternoon, hoping to put me off. He was convinced this was a suicide attempt. It might have been, I suppose. "Hell of a way to go," I grinned. "Yeah, but Miriam, she'll hunt you down for letting me buy this thing." I heard Will chuckle. "Aw, you'd cause that kind of trouble for me, even when you're dead." He said it mock adoringly. "Always," I chuckled. "She's come after me for all the stupid shit you've pulled over the years. And some of it, most of it, you did on purpose. Miriam did think that it was me who was the troublemaker. You were. You're still a troublemaker. Which of us is about to throw himself off a cliff again?" Okay, enough bickering. Lights on, as far back as possible. Genuflect for luck, and maybe a bit of last-minute forgiveness from the Almighty. Run, and... The void. The stars circling above me. Arms wide. Whoa! Woo! The sky took my body. My lights caught jagged rocks and teeth passing beneath me. Solid granite buttresses. My body almost fatally scraping against them, before I was in the open void, hurtling down the valley, traveling at the speed of light. The stars above were so far away that they stayed where they were, but the stars below, the lights of the Ogwen Road, and the glow of Capel Carrig turned into a long grey, a ribbon of light cutting through the dark walls of the void. This would have been safer in daylight, but fuck that. The only reason to do this in daylight was scenery. I can see scenery from the ground. Night was a thrill. Night was when the lights of the road became a vortex, when I was falling through empty space, falling into nirvana. No ground below us, above us, only stars. Yup, I can see you, Will grinned. He'd agreed to watch out for me from the library window. I laughed. If he could see me, then so could most of the valley. They'd probably think I was some RAF flyball from over Valley way. Those posh tosses were always zipping up and down here, scaring tourists and dive-bombing them. Just the other day, one of them attempted a circuit of Cuffrey, and nearly collided with the side of Llewellyn. I decided to try a few tricks, a spin, but as soon as I moved left, I found the wind too strong and straightened out. I wouldn't try that again. It put too much fear up me. I concentrated on the glow of Capel Carrig, the growing glow. It was like that old cliche of the light at the end of the tunnel you have to tap dance along when you die. If the app that came with the suit was correct, I ought to land just before it. Or more likely crash, in which case it would indeed be the cliched light at the end. There was no point, not between the impulsive add to basket and jumping off that cliff, where I wondered why I was doing this. I was so caught up in the adrenaline when I was in the air that I didn't think about it then either. I worked it out about 3 years later. I was trying not to deal with the situation, the triangle I tangled myself up in. I was going to have to deal with it. But it was one of those things that hurts too much to deal with, and it all feels so awkward and world-shattering that you can't see any way out, except jumping off a cliff. So you jump off a cliff in the middle of the night, covered by a bunch of lights you got from the pound shop. My lights were showing the ground coming close, so I pulled the ripcord on the chute. It was too late. I was yanked backwards and nearly smashed my head into the ground. I somehow managed to get my feet down first, my head only just missing being impaled on a rock. But I was going so fast that I still plowed an unwanted furrow through the dirt and the rocks, and the old sheep shed, which always for some reason takes mountain walkers by surprise. That was my boots ruined. I'd paid $200 for these a week ago. Again, I think this was avoiding the situation. Spend your way through your troubles. Avoid thinking about them. That's the way to do it. It hurt like hell, especially the rubble that was hitting my face. The wingsuit was no cushion for the force of the impact. When I was finally stopped by the chute, I rolled on the ground and lay there, face down in the sheep shed, feeling the pain and trying to wonder if I was alive or not. At least they'd find my corpse with a big grin on his face. It landed in that field. I can see the lights. Great. People. I didn't want to explain myself. The police would get involved. I'd already had one caution about reckless behavior from them, and I didn't want another. I fell to my feet and tried to hobble away before they spotted me, tripping over a rock on the way. The wingsuit protected me, mostly, but I was tangled in the chute. I managed to cut that loose, and it floated off somewhere. I could search for it in the morning, but the people had seen me. Look, it's a kind of bat. Oh, you really couldn't be that stupid, could you? Look at its eyes. It's a spider bat. Yes, you really could be that stupid. It was tough. and involved a lot of flapping my wings and viciously slapping my chest. A couple of the lights fell off, but I got the lights off and managed to vanish into the darkness. Where did it go? It's one of them invisible predator thingies. It's come to kill us. That guy sounded drunk. These were drunks from the nearby hostel. I thought about playing with them, hissing some alien gobbledygook from the dark. That probably wasn't a good idea, but it made me laugh as I waddled to freedom, leaving the drunks to wake up Capel Carrick with their claims of predator spider bats falling from the sky. You want a lift home, bro? I heard in my ear. Yeah, that'd be nice, I smiled. Tough shit, Will teased, hanging up on me. Typical. Absolutely typical. On the way home, fumbling through the dark, admiring the stars again, wingsuit tucked under my arm, everything I was avoiding tapped me on the shoulder and said hi.